I like to reflect more of the new modern marriage arrangements. The idea where a husband lives in his house, wife lives in her house. The idea that a wife will live in her house, a husband lives in her house. The husband lives in his house. Why do I think this is a good idea? I think that they kind of saves the marriage. Both of them, they love one another. So I'll give you a story. The man, the husband, okay, I'll give you an example. Say the husband, he's physically he has a physical condition. Say he has a physical condition and he's got this physical condition. Okay, let's get on with that. Okay, so he's got this physical condition, right? The husband has got the physical condition. And so because of the physical condition that the husband has, he doesn't want to be a burden to his wife. So he says, so I don't have to be no burden to my wife, but my wife don't have to take care of me and lift me and plop me and lift me and put me in the chair. So I don't have to be such a burden to my wife. I still would like to be married to her, but I don't wish to be no burden to her. So no physical burden anywhere, and the other kind of burden. And because of my physical condition, I'd only be a burden to her. So this is why I prefer to live in my own house until my physical condition gets better, and I'm hoping within 5 years. It won't go beyond the 5 years that and if I can have 4 years of this physical condition, I'd feel better if it were 4 years, but let's say I would have this physical condition for 5 years. And I just don't like to be no burden to the wife I married. So then what I would do is I would live in my own house with my own mother. I have my mother left. My father is deceased. My father has deceased, God rest his soul. So now I got my mother, and I kind of thank God, I got my mother. And so, say I were to get married, right? Say that, okay, I seen this girl I like, and so I marry her, and I have kids with her. Because of my physical condition, and I not like to be no burden to them, so I would live in my own house, maybe for 5 years. And she would live in her own house for maybe the 5 years. You see me, she live in her house for the 5 years. There are days when I would send the kids to her. She would care for them. And then I was okay, hun, you did your turn, so send this week or next week, send the kids to me, and I'll take care of them at my house. Me and my mother will take care of the kids. Me and my mother we will take care of the kids to the best of our abilities. And there are times when you can come and visit me and see the kids, because not it would not just be my sons and daughters, it would be her sons and daughters too. So I say, come on and see them, come visit me, and we'll have like even the dinner together. My mother might cook a lasagna. I like when my mother cooks a lasagna. So we might have a dinner together, and me and my mother will take care of the kids. My mother will become grandma, and me and grandma will take care of the kids, maybe for 1 week. And I'll say to the wife, okay, would you like to take care of the kids for a week? So we share. She does week 1, I do week 2. And so we share. And so I take care of the kids to the best of my abilities. Okay, so let's say I find this girl I love and I marry her, and I know because of my own physical condition, there's not really any way that I could live in the same house as her. Not because I hate her, but no, I don't hate her. I love her. I love her. It's not why I choose not to live with her. I choose not to live with her so as not to be no physical burden to her. I just prefer not to be a physical burden to her. I prefer not to be a physical burden to her because I love her, and she will be my wife and I love her. But because of my physical condition, I'm not able to live in the same house as her. So I would have to live in my own house. And she would have to live in her own house. She would have to live in her own house for now. And then for now, I'd have to live in my own house for now. But she can come and visit me. Maybe I can come visit her, but then one next night I got to come back to my house and let her get back to her house. If we have sons and daughters, I can send 1 week the sons and daughters with her, and the other week she will send the sons and daughters to me to take care of them. And so this is how we do it. We would take turns. I would say, okay, Tara, hon, you took care of the kids at your house for 1 week. Now it's my turn. I take care of the kids at my house for 1 week. I do every first week. You do every second week. We can rotate. You get the kids every first week maybe, and I get the kids every second week perhaps. But we live in 2 different houses. We live in 2 different houses because of my physical condition and because of the fact that I wish not to be a burden to her. I wish not to be no burden to her. So what? She lives in her house. I live in my house. I live in my house. She lives in her house. But hopefully only for about 5 years at the most. Then after 5 years, hopefully I'm physically better enough. I don't need to live in my own house. I can live in the house with her. But for now, this is the way it has to be. I like this, or what I like about this arrangement in one way is it does kind of save the marriage, because if you love your wife and you want to save the marriage and you're not able to live in the same house as her, but you love her to death. I mean, you really love her and everything. And you just don't like to be no burden to her. So that's why I would live in my house. And so she would live in her house. She would live in her own separate house. I live in my separate house. Is what they call married together, but just living apart. It means that they are married, they're legally married in the eyes of God. They legally married in the eyes of God, but it's just due to certain circumstances, unfortunate circumstances. It means that the husband maybe has to live in his own house maybe for 5 years. Maybe after 5 years, hopefully his physical condition improves and he can live in the same house as his wife. But this is what I like about the arrangement. It's something new that seems to be catching on. It's called the we're married, but we live in our own houses for now. For now, we live in our own houses, but we are married. And she gets the kids as sons and daughters for 1 week, and then the other week I'll get the sons and daughters. I'll get the sons and daughters for week number 1. And week number 2, she would get the sons and daughters. But she could come visit me, and perhaps I could come visit her, but that night I'd have to return back home. And I would help her to the best of my abilities around her house. I would help her the best I can. And then I would go visit her at her house, and she would come visit me at my house. And we'd even have a dinner together at my house, maybe my mother's famous lasagna or something like that. So my mother can make a dynamite lasagna.
Are you talking to someone?
Yeah.
Who?
My.
Be careful what you put on there now.
Yeah, I know.
We don't need any.
And so,
Michael, I don't want anybody to be able to hear what you're saying. It's not going on the internet and stuff like that, is it? Is it?
no.